Imagine waking up one ordinary morning, picking up a dusty old jar of pennies from the back of your drawer, and realizing that one tiny copper coin inside could be worth nearly $1 million. Sounds unbelievable, right? But today, we're diving into the shocking truth behind a coin that most Americans have handled hundreds of times without knowing its hidden power. The 1964 D. Lincoln penny, a coin that some collectors are now valuing at up to $964,000. Yes, just 1 cent, turning into a life-changing fortune. Welcome to a journey that might just transform the way you look at pocket change forever. And if you've ever wondered whether treasure can really hide in plain sight, stay with me, because what you're about to learn could be the difference between tossing away a penny and discovering an unexpected opportunity for wealth. Before we go deeper, ask yourself this. How many old pennies have you glanced at, shrugged off, and thrown into a jar without thinking twice? And what if one of them could erase a debt, pay off a home, or rewrite your financial future? Most people will never check. But you, watching this right now, you're already one step ahead. Let's start at the beginning. In a year that changed everything for coin collectors, the United States Mint was under immense pressure in the early 1960s. A severe coin shortage swept the nation. Businesses were struggling, banks were desperate, and the demand for change was so intense that Congress stepped in. 1964 became the year the Mint produced billions of coins at record speed, including the Lincoln 1-cent penny with the Denver Mint mark. But here's where the story gets interesting. When something is produced quickly at such massive scale, mistakes happen. Rare mistakes, valuable mistakes, mistakes that collectors today are hunting for with almost obsessive intensity. And it's these errors, these microscopic differences that the average person's eye would completely miss, that transform a regular penny into a six-figure powerhouse. Now, imagine holding a coin so special that even experts pause, tilt it toward the light, and whisper, "This one. This might be the one." That's the aura surrounding certain 1964 D pennies. But of course, you may be wondering, if billions were minted, why is any of them worth up to $964,000 today? The answer lies in rarity inside abundance. Think of it like finding a diamond buried in a mountain of sand. There's plenty of sand, but the diamond? That's priceless as the Mint scrambled to meet demand. Dies were overused, misaligned, damaged, and replaced inconsistently. A handful of coins slipped through with extraordinary qualities. Sharp doubled features, brilliant uncirculated surfaces, or early strikes with crisp detail. Some were struck from experimental or transitional dies. Others show subtle errors that only the trained eye can detect. These few coins survived the chaos of circulation, untouched, unfaded, and unbelievably valuable. And here's where your heart should start beating a little faster. Most of these rare examples have never been found. Not yet. They are still out there, possibly in jars, boxes, or forgotten drawers across American homes. Maybe even yours. Collectors are paying staggering prices. A flawless, almost impossibly preserved 1964 D penny has crossed into six-figure territory, with potential valuations reaching $964,000 in private markets when the coin shows exceptional die characteristics or rare mint anomalies. That's nearly $1 million for a coin you might have once dropped between car seats without noticing. You might be asking yourself right now, what does a life-changing penny even look like? How do I know if I have one? Stay with me, because in just a moment you'll hear exactly what collectors obsess over and what you should be looking for. But first, let's pause for a second. Isn't it funny how life works? We worry about big investments, complicated ventures, and expensive opportunities. Meanwhile, a penny, a literal 1-cent coin, could be the rare treasure we've been overlooking for years. Maybe the biggest mistake many people make is assuming small things don't matter. And yet, in the world of rare coins, small is everything. Now, back to the hunt. Collectors and grading experts look for several key features that push a 1964 D penny into the elite tier of value. One of the most coveted is a strong doubled die, where Lincoln's profile, date, or inscriptions appear doubled under magnification. Another is an exceptionally sharp strike, the type produced by fresh dies before thousands of coins dull the details. A perfectly preserved reddish-brown or bright red copper surface can also send the value skyrocketing. But here's the real twist. Some of the most valuable 1964 D pennies come from enigmatic die varieties that experts still debate. The mint was under so much pressure, and the die usage was so chaotic that some varieties exist in tiny numbers, sometimes only a few examples known. And you know what that means. Rarity. Serious rarity. The kind that makes collectors' eyes widen and their wallets open. Every time a new high-grade or ultra-rare example appears on the market, it sets off a ripple across the entire coin community. Prices jump, competition spikes, and the hunt intensifies. People suddenly start digging into old collections, inspecting rolls, and pulling out magnifying glasses. Some even find themselves staring at a penny under a lamp at 2 a.m., whispering, "Please let this be the one." It sounds dramatic until you realize the rewards are very real. Now, let me share something that few people know. The biggest profits in coin collecting often go to the people who know how to recognize opportunity when others overlook it. While most individuals casually dismiss older pennies as common, the knowledgeable ones understand patterns, error types, and market demands. They don't rely on luck, they rely on awareness. And that's exactly what you're gaining right now. Let's make this even more exciting. Imagine selling one coin for a life-changing amount. Imagine paying off a mortgage, funding your dream retirement, or finally living the wealthy, comfortable lifestyle you've always wanted. How often do you get a chance like that from something sitting silently in your home? But before you start emptying every drawer, here's the moment you've been waiting for, the key signs that your 1964 D penny might be the rare million-dollar version. Look closely at the date for strong doubling. Tilt it beneath bright light to check for unusually sharp features, particularly around Lincoln's beard, the ear, and the lettering. And most importantly, examine the overall condition. A coin that looks untouched or unusually bright may be an early die strike. And if you're feeling that little tingle of excitement right now, good. You should. Because what if the next coin you check is the one that changes everything? Of course, there's one more cliffhanger in this story. As market demand continues to climb and collectors compete, prices for extraordinary 1964 D pennies are pushing upward. And many experts believe we haven't seen the highest record sale yet. The next million-dollar coin might still be undiscovered, possibly sitting in a family collection, a sealed roll, or a forgotten jar. Maybe sitting in your home. Before this video ends, ask yourself one final question. If a single penny could hold this much power, what else in your life have you overlooked? What other hidden opportunities are waiting for your attention? Wealth doesn't always arrive loudly, it often whispers. Sometimes it fits in the palm of your hand, weighs almost nothing, and bears the face of Abraham Lincoln. So don't wait. Don't assume. Don't let a once-in-a-lifetime chance slip away. Check your pennies. Search your drawers. Look through old collections passed down through your family. Because somewhere out there, someone is going to uncover the next 1964 D masterpiece valued near the $964,000 mark. And it might as well be you. And who knows, maybe the journey that leads you to financial freedom starts not with a huge leap, but with a single step and a single penny. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old coffee can of pennies you haven't touched in decades, and discovering that a coin you once dismissed as pocket change is now worth more than most luxury homes in America. Sounds impossible, right? Yet today, we're diving into the astonishing story of the 1967 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, an ordinary-looking copper coin with the extraordinary power to reshape someone's financial future. Its highest recorded value has soared into the millions, with a current market value reaching an unbelievable $967,000. And yes, one of these coins could be sitting quietly in your home right now. Welcome back. If you're someone between the ages of 30 and 65 who's ready to turn hidden treasures into lasting wealth, this might be one of the most important videos you've ever watched. By the end, you'll know exactly why this unassuming penny has made investors, collectors, and everyday Americans scramble through drawers, jars, and boxes with a sense of urgency, and why you should, too. But before we get to the part that shocks almost everyone, let's start at the beginning. The story of the 1967 penny begins during a turbulent period in American currency. The U.S. Mint had temporarily removed mint marks to discourage coin hoarding, which means every 1967 penny left the presses with no identifying letter beneath the date. Millions were made, but only a fraction survived in exceptional condition. And even fewer contain the rare errors and variations that turn a simple coin into a life-changing asset. At the time, nobody imagined these pennies would one day command 6 or even 7-figure values. After all, who stares at a copper penny and thinks, "This could pay off my mortgage?" But that's exactly where things get interesting, because hidden among these millions are error coins so striking that collectors lose sleep trying to find them. Some show dramatic die misalignments, off-center strikes, doubled features, or proof-like surfaces that were never meant to appear on a standard circulation penny. Imagine spotting one of these in your change and realizing it's not worth 1 cent, but the price of a luxury SUV. Not a bad trade, right? As the years passed, these rare error coins became harder and harder to find in top condition. Circulation wore them down. Time stripped away their brilliance. Families cashed in jars of pennies without checking them, unknowingly letting thousands slip back into the system. And with every lost coin, the surviving population of high-quality 1967 no-mint mark pennies grew smaller, more desirable, and more valuable. Serious collectors began competing aggressively. Auction houses positioned them as elite collectibles, and suddenly the quiet little coin from 1967 was thrust into the spotlight. But here's where fear kicks in, because right now, somewhere in America, someone is holding a 1967 penny worth nearly $1 million and doesn't even know it. Could it be you? How many old jars have you left untouched in the attic? How many boxes from your parents or grandparents are still sealed? The thought alone is enough to make anyone pause the video and start searching. But don't go yet. In just a moment, you're going to learn exactly what details separate a $1 million 1967 penny from the ordinary ones. Before we get there, consider this. Collectors in the last decade have watched the value of high-grade 1967 pennies skyrocket beyond expectations. A few rare examples have crossed into the $1 million range, shocking seasoned numismatists who thought they'd seen everything. When a coin breaks that psychological barrier, excitement spreads across the entire market. Suddenly, investors begin buying aggressively. They fear missing out. They fear waiting too long. And that fear pushes prices up even further, creating opportunities for those who act at the right moment. So what exactly makes the most valuable 1967 pennies so special? First, condition. A truly pristine penny from this year, one with no scratches, no handling marks, no discoloration, can achieve top-tier grading scores that instantly multiply its value. Coins graded MS 65 or higher become contenders. Those reaching MS 67 or above enter an elite category where competition becomes fierce. And if a coin combines this top condition with a dramatic minting error, its value can leap into rarefied air where only the most exclusive collectibles reside. Imagine holding a coin so sharply struck that Lincoln's hair strands look hand-carved, or one where the lettering shows doubling from a misaligned die, or a penny with an off-center strike so dramatic that it looks like it's sliding off the coin entirely. These aren't just pennies. These are anomalies, pieces of minting history that collectors want to showcase, brag about, and protect like precious artifacts. And here's the wild part. Coins like this still pop up today. Maybe in coin rolls, maybe in inherited collections, maybe even in your pocket change. Stranger things have happened. Now, you might be wondering, how does a penny from 1967 end up being worth $967,000 today? Simple. Supply and demand, combined with rarity and condition. Collectors chase the highest grades. Investors chase the rarest errors. And everyone wants the one coin nobody else can have. When demand collides with scarcity, prices surge. And when auctions ignite bidding wars, values can skyrocket beyond expectations, sometimes doubling or tripling in a single night. If you think that sounds exaggerated, ask anyone who's watched a simple copper penny sell for the price of a waterfront condo. It happens more often than you'd believe. And here's where excitement builds. Because you're not just learning about coins, you're learning about opportunities. Opportunities that people overlook every single day. Opportunities hiding in boxes under beds and in dusty jars beneath kitchen sinks. Opportunities waiting for someone curious enough, motivated enough, and bold enough to take action. And if you've ever dreamed of upgrading your lifestyle, traveling, investing, or securing your family's future, This is one of the simplest ways to enter the world of high-value collectibles. But don't be fooled. Not every 1967 penny is valuable, and many are worth only their face value. That's why knowledge becomes your most powerful asset. One tiny detail can be the difference between 1 cent and nearly $1 million. Is the coin struck slightly off-center? Are there doubled features? Does the surface look unusually shiny or reflective? Does it appear untouched by human hands? Each of these details matters, and every detail you overlook could cost you a fortune. A scary thought, isn't it? The challenge and the thrill is in the search. Every collector remembers the moment they found that first rare coin, that heartbeat spike, that rush of disbelief, that wild thought, how is this even possible? And for some, that moment becomes the beginning of a profitable new chapter in life. A chapter where even the smallest discoveries can lead to extraordinary rewards. Think of it as treasure hunting, just with pennies. Now, before we reach the most important part of this story, take a moment to imagine what you'd do if you found a 1967 penny worth $967,000. Pay off debts? Buy property? Retire early? Or maybe you'd treat yourself to something fun. Who wouldn't enjoy explaining to a car dealer that you're paying cash with the proceeds of a single penny? It's a great conversation starter. A little humor helps, especially when talking about something as unbelievable as turning 1 cent into nearly $1 million. But here's the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. There's one specific rare version of the 1967 penny that most collectors don't even know exists. A version that has stunned experts and sparked bidding wars. And yes, this version can reach the $1 million range faster than any other. Identifying it requires a sharp eye, a bit of patience, and the willingness to inspect every detail carefully. In just a moment, I'll tell you the features to look for so you can uncover this hidden treasure yourself. This final stretch is where your opportunity begins. When you examine your 1967 pennies, look for a sharply struck portrait with deep lines in Lincoln's beard and hair. Check for a flawless shine, almost like a proof coin. Inspect the lettering for doubling, especially around Liberty and the date. Look at the coin's borders. Are they perfectly even, or do they show signs of misalignment? Any unusual feature, even a subtle one, could transform that coin into a treasure. And if the coin is in mint state condition with a dramatic error, you may be holding one of the rarest modern pennies ever discovered. This is the moment where fear becomes motivation, where curiosity becomes action, and where knowledge turns into wealth. Many Americans ignore their old coins. Many assume there's nothing valuable in their collections. And many watch opportunities slip through their fingers because they didn't take 10 minutes to learn something that could change their lives forever. But you're different. You've stayed through this journey, and now you know exactly what to search for. So, as you finish this video, remember one thing. Wealth doesn't always come from working longer hours or taking bigger risks. Sometimes it comes from paying attention, from recognizing the hidden value in everyday things. And perhaps, from a simple 1967 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny that's been waiting patiently for you to notice it. Most people walk past a penny on the ground without a second thought. Some ignore the coins sitting in old jars, dusty drawers, or forgotten family boxes. But what if I told you that one of those pennies, a simple brown coin from 1968, could be your key to a life-changing financial breakthrough? Imagine reaching into an old coffee can, pulling out a coin worth nearly $1 million, and realizing that wealth had been sitting under your roof for decades. Sounds unbelievable, right? Yet today, we're uncovering the reality of the 1968 Lincoln penny and how some rare examples have reached staggering values, up to the $1 million range, with a current confirmed market value near $968,000. Yes, a penny. 1 cent turning into a small fortune. The story behind this coin doesn't begin in a vault or in the hands of a wealthy collector. It begins in a time of political tension, economic shifts, and a rapidly changing America. 1968 was the year the San Francisco Mint produced millions of pennies, but only a tiny fraction were struck with a level of precision and rarity that makes collectors today stop in their tracks. And that tiny fraction is exactly what we're going to uncover, because you might have one without even realizing it. But before we dive into rarity, let's pause for a moment. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to get lucky with rare finds and financial opportunities, while others overlook them completely. It's not luck, it's awareness. It's having the eye trained to look where others don't. It's knowing what to search for. And in the world of rare pennies, awareness is everything. The 1968 penny looks ordinary at first glance. It bears the iconic profile of Abraham Lincoln, the smooth copper shine, the classic memorial reverse. Most people wouldn't give it a second look. But hidden within the sea of common coins are the few outliers. Coins with razor-sharp details, flawless surfaces, and minting characteristics so perfect that professional graders consider them a masterpiece of the era. These high-grade examples, especially those approaching the MS-67 and MS-68 range, are the ones that have crossed auction blocks at prices that shock even seasoned collectors. Now, you might be thinking, how does something so small become so valuable? Why this penny, and not the thousands of others from the same year? The answer is both simple and incredibly fascinating. Perfection. The San Francisco Mint was known for producing proof coins, but circulation pennies from this mint rarely come close to perfection. Most have tiny nicks, dull surfaces, or minor imperfections you can only see under magnification. But the rare few that slipped through, untouched, perfectly preserved, and struck with extraordinary clarity, those are the ones that collectors fight over. Imagine you're in a bidding room. The auctioneer calls out numbers, hands shoot up, and the tension builds. All of this over a coin worth 1 cent on paper. But the bids climb, 10,000, 30,000, 80,000. And just when you think it can't go any higher, the collector with the deepest conviction takes it past 6 figures. Then 7. The gavel hits. Sold. A penny that someone may have once used to buy candy. Now worth close to $1 million. But here's where things get even more exciting. These rare 1968 pennies aren't just found in sealed collector sets. Many are discovered in everyday coin collections, old jars, inherited boxes, pocket change that was never spent. And the fear of missing out becomes real when you realize thousands of people have handled a 1968 penny without recognizing its potential. It's the kind of fear that makes you want to check your change right now. Don't worry, we'll wait. Kidding. But maybe check after this video. Let's talk about what gives the top-grade examples such extraordinary value. First, the mint mark itself, the small s under the date, indicates that it was produced in San Francisco. This mint was known for better-than-average quality, but that also means perfection stands out even more. To achieve a nearly $1 million value, the coin must have blazing luster, no visible contact marks, perfectly struck details, and an almost glass-like surface. The difference between a $5 penny and a $968,000 penny can literally be a microscopic scratch. A single flaw, a tiny speck, one moment of mishandling decades ago. This is where the excitement kicks in, because you may have coins that have been untouched for 30, 40, even 50 years, sitting quietly and aging naturally. Coins from old estates, inherited collections, forgotten rolls. These untouched environments sometimes preserve coins in a state that is impossible to find today in circulation. That untouched stability is what makes your chances higher than you think. The rarity isn't only in the coin, it's in the condition. But here's the twist that pulls you deeper into the story. Some 1968 pennies also contain subtle minting anomalies, variations, doubled dies, or enhanced strike details that collectors pay huge premiums for. Not every rare coin is perfect. Some are valuable precisely because they're imperfect in a rare and unusual way. Sharp doubling in the date or the lettering, a misalignment, a strange thickness in the mint mark. These quirks turn normal pennies into treasures. Now, here's a provocative question. What if right now, while you're watching, someone somewhere is discovering their own rare penny, getting it graded, and cashing in before you even check your collection? What if the opportunity slips past simply because you didn't look? This is when fear becomes motivation. Because in the world of collectible coins, timing matters. Awareness matters. Action matters. Collectors aren't just buying a coin. They're buying history, rarity, and the thrill of owning something so few humans will ever hold. And that demand has only increased over the past decade. High net worth collectors are investing more than ever in rare coins, seeing them as safe, tangible assets, something immune to economic swings. And that increased competition pushes prices higher, faster, and further. Let's imagine for a moment that you do find a 1968 S penny in amazing condition. What happens next? You could send it to a grading service, PCGS or NGC. They assign a grade, and that grade determines your potential fortune. If your coin lands in the highest grades, your financial future shifts instantly. And even if it doesn't reach the record-breaking tier, the coin could still be worth hundreds, thousands, or tens of thousands of dollars. Not a bad return on something that may have cost your grandparents a single cent, but here is the real cliffhanger, the part that keeps collectors awake at night. Experts believe that higher-grade 1968 S pennies may still exist ungraded, undiscovered, untouched. Coins that could beat current records. Coins that could push values over $1 million. And someone somewhere will eventually find them. The question is, will it be you? Before the end of this video, remember this simple truth. Opportunities don't always arrive wrapped in gold. Sometimes they show up as a small copper penny that's been waiting decades for someone to recognize its value. Imagine the feeling of realizing wealth was already in your hands, and all you had to do was look closely. So, don't underestimate what's sitting in your home right now. That old coffee can, that dusty drawer, that inherited jar of coins. Those little containers could hold the seed of the wealthy lifestyle you've always imagined. A chance to transform something forgotten into something life-changing. Check your pennies, especially the ones from 1968. Especially the ones with that small but powerful S. Because the next million-dollar discovery might not come from a treasure hunter or a millionaire collector. It might come from someone watching this video. Someone just like you, ready to rewrite their financial story with a single coin. And until you check, until you look, the mystery remains alive. The opportunity remains yours. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old cigar box, and realizing the tiny brown penny you almost tossed aside is worth more than the home you live in. Sounds unbelievable, right? Yet today, that exact dream is happening for people across America who are discovering the extraordinary value hidden inside an ordinary-looking coin. The 1970 D. Lincoln penny. A coin that, under the right circumstances, has reached a jaw-dropping value close to $1 million, with the current known market high touching an astonishing $970,000. And the greatest twist? Most people have no idea they might already own one. Welcome back. And get ready, because what you're about to discover could change the way you look at every penny in your pocket for the rest of your life. Stay with me until the end, because the final detail is what separates a penny worth 1 cent from one worth a fortune. The story begins in 1970, deep inside the Denver Mint, during a time when the United States was shifting rapidly. Politically, socially, and economically. Billions of coins were being produced, but a tiny number of pennies, struck under rare and unusual conditions, would one day become the stuff of legend. These 1970 D. Lincoln pennies may look like any other cent. Copper-colored, humble, and worn by time. But history has its own sense of humor. It hid life-changing wealth in plain sight. Picture an average American in the 1970s. They're pumping gas at 36 cents a gallon, picking up groceries without scanning for price tags, while pennies jingle in their pockets without a second thought. Who would imagine that one of those pennies, small enough to slip between couch cushions, would one day be worth more than an entire retirement fund? But that's exactly what unfolded when collectors began uncovering rare variations of the 1970 D penny. Coins struck with dramatic minting errors, double dies, misstrikes, and ultra-sharp proofs that should never have entered public circulation. These mistakes became masterpieces. And masterpieces, as we all know, command the highest prices. Now, I know what you're thinking. A penny worth nearly $1 million? How is that even possible? And more importantly, could I have one? This is where the story gets exciting. And a little terrifying. Because millions of Americans have cleaned out drawers, sold inherited belongings, and thrown out old jars of coins without ever checking what was inside. A 1970 D penny could have been sitting right there, hidden under rubber bands, bottle caps, and paper clips. It's the kind of thought that keeps some collectors awake at night. But don't worry. Today, you're going to learn exactly what makes the rarest 1970 pennies so valuable, how to identify them, and why collectors are paying nearly 7 figures for the finest examples. First, rarity. The number one rule of coin value. The fewer that exist, the higher the demand. The rarest 1970 pennies include dramatic double-die obverse errors, where the date, lettering, or liberty appears doubled, bold, and unmistakable. Some are so sharp you don't even need a magnifying glass to see them. Others are subtle, like a shadow behind the numbers, barely visible unless examined carefully. These visual anomalies shouldn't exist, and that's exactly what makes collectors hungry for them. Then there's condition. Imagine two identical rare coins. One looks like it's been through a washing machine, and the other looks untouched by time. The untouched one? That's the one that breaks records. High-grade 1970 pennies, especially those graded mint state or proof-like, are the real stars of the million-dollar market. Many of these coins survived only because they were tucked away accidentally in rolls, envelopes, or safe deposit boxes. Funny how the things we forget sometimes become the most valuable. And now, the part that really stirs emotion: competition. Collectors aren't just buying coins. They're bidding for history. They're battling for bragging rights. They're investing in something no one else may ever own again. So when a flawless 1970 penny appears at an auction, millionaires show up ready to fight. And the final hammer price? That's how we arrived at the staggering $970,000 valuation making headlines today. Let's pause for a second. Isn't it crazy that the coin you used to buy bubble gum could now buy a luxury home? Or two. Ever feel like the universe owes you one big stroke of luck? Maybe this penny is yours. Before you run to your attic, let me share the most important details that separate a common 1970 penny from the extraordinary ones. Look for doubling in the date. Look for anomalies in liberty. Look for unusually sharp details, unusual finishes, or errors in the strike. If something looks off, in the coin world, off often means valuable. And if you're staring at the coin thinking, I'm not sure, congratulations. That's already a good sign. The rare ones usually provoke curiosity before they provoke excitement. But don't stop here. The last thing you want is to misjudge the condition or overlook the very feature that makes a penny worth more than a luxury SUV. Coins should always be authenticated and graded by a respected service like PCGS or NGC. One simple evaluation could transform a small metal disc into a life-changing asset. And yes, people have literally mailed in a penny worth nothing and gotten back a value that changed their financial future overnight. Imagine being the next person who opens a grading result and reads, mint state, rare double die, estimated value, $970,000. Your knees might buckle, your heart might skip, and that's exactly why this coin is so thrilling. It reminds us that wealth doesn't always come from where we expect it. Sometimes it's sitting right in front of us quietly waiting. And if you're feeling a little spark of excitement, or maybe a little fear that you've already thrown one away, that's good. That's what opportunity feels like. Wealth often rewards the people who pay attention, the ones who look twice, the ones who search, who learn, who stay curious. So before this video ends, here's your cliffhanger moment. There is one specific detail, one tiny feature, that separates the million-dollar 1970 penny from the average ones sitting in change drawers across the country. It's the detail that auctioneers whisper about, collectors obsess over, and experts refuse to underestimate. And that feature is the sharp, unmistakable doubling that runs across the date and lettering like a ghost image etched into the copper. Miss it and you walk away with a penny. Catch it, and you walk away with generational wealth. Imagine waking up tomorrow, walking to your dresser, opening a forgotten drawer, and discovering a single penny that could rewrite your entire financial story. It sounds unbelievable, almost like a plot from a movie you'd watch on a lazy Sunday afternoon. But today, we're talking about a coin that turns ordinary people into unexpected millionaires. The 1976 D Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. A coin with a shockingly high market value that has reached as much as $976,000, and in rare cases, even crossed into the millions. Yes, a single penny. So if you've ever wondered whether the loose change hiding in jars, boxes, or old coat pockets could be the key to a wealthier life, stay right where you are. This isn't just a history lesson. This is a wake-up call. A reminder that the world is full of overlooked opportunities that most people never notice because they're too busy chasing the big, shiny things. Yet sometimes the gateway to wealth fits in the palm of your hand. Before we dive deep into the story behind this coin, ask yourself, when was the last time you truly looked at a penny instead of tossing it aside? You might stop doing that after this. The journey of the 1976 D penny begins during America's bicentennial era, a time filled with hope, celebration, and national transformation. While quarters, half dollars, and dollars were redesigned with patriotic themes, the humble penny remained visually unchanged. No special design, no big fanfare, just Abraham Lincoln quietly observing from the copper surface. But behind that simple appearance, a perfect storm of rarity, minting anomalies, and collector demand created something astonishing. A coin that, under the right circumstances, could be worth a life-changing fortune. But why this penny? Why 1976? Why Denver? And why are collectors willing to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for a coin most people wouldn't bend down to pick up? By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to identify one of these rare treasures, what makes them so valuable, and how you can turn a simple piece of pocket change into a powerful financial opportunity. Stay with me because each detail matters, and one missing clue could be the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth a luxury home. The excitement around the 1976 D penny comes from several subtle but transformative factors. First is condition. Most pennies from this era circulated heavily, picking up scratches, dings, and discoloration. But a tiny number were never touched, preserved in brilliant, almost mirror-like condition. Imagine a penny that looks like it just left the Denver Mint yesterday. These are the specimens collectors battle fiercely over. In auction houses, they spark bidding wars that escalate faster than a family argument over the last slice of pizza. Then, there's the world of rare minting errors. A small misalignment here, an off-center strike there, an unusual die crack, or a doubled feature in Lincoln's profile. These imperfections can send the value skyrocketing. A coin that would otherwise be worth a few dollars suddenly becomes the star of the auction floor. Some of the highest dollar sales involved flawless strikes combined with rare errors, creating one-of-a-kind pieces that wealthy collectors simply refuse to let slip away. But here's where things get interesting and where fear and excitement collide. Many people unknowingly throw these valuable pennies into coin-counting machines, donate them in tip jars, or leave them sitting in shoeboxes in the attic. Every year, countless potential fortunes vanish because someone didn't take a closer look. And somewhere out there, perhaps in your home, something incredibly valuable could be hiding in plain sight. This possibility creates a question that lingers in the air. What if you've already held one of these rare 1976 D pennies and never realized it? Before you panic and dump every coin you own onto the floor, let's walk through exactly what to look for. Start with the mint mark, D for Denver. Next, observe the coin's surface. Does it shine with an almost unreal brilliance? Are the fields smooth, with sharp details in Lincoln's hair, coat, and beard? Is the rim perfectly struck? And perhaps most importantly, do you see anything unusual? An extra outline? A cracked line? A misalignment? Or even a missing feature? Your heart might just skip a beat if you do. Collectors pay extraordinary prices for coins that combine rarity with perfection. The current documented market value pushing $976,000 didn't come from an ordinary penny, but from a nearly flawless specimen with characteristics so rare that collectors were willing to push the bidding higher and higher. The moment the hammer dropped, that ordinary-looking coin became a symbol of hidden wealth, proof that sometimes life's biggest opportunities arrive disguised as something small and insignificant. The demand for these rare pennies is fueled by a new generation of wealthy collectors, investors, and enthusiasts who see rare coins as more than collectibles. They see them as alternative assets, pieces of American history that grow in value, protect wealth during uncertain times, and offer the thrill of owning something truly irreplaceable. And let's be honest, telling your friends that you turned a penny into $1 million is a story nobody forgets. You might wonder, why would someone pay that kind of money for a penny? The answer is simpler than you think. Scarcity, condition, story. When a coin represents a unique moment in history, survives untouched for decades, and carries a flaw that shouldn't exist, it becomes a treasure, not just in monetary terms, but in cultural significance. And wealthy buyers love owning what nobody else can have. Humans have always wanted rare things. It's in our nature. If it were easy to find $1 million penny, it wouldn't be valuable. And now we reach a crucial moment, the turning point of this entire story. Because the real question is not why these coins are valuable, but whether one of these extraordinary pennies is waiting for you to discover it. Maybe it's in a forgotten jar in your basement. Maybe it's in your late grandparents' belongings. Maybe it's hiding in that box of coins you've been meaning to organize for years but keep putting off. This is where urgency becomes real. Every day you wait, someone else finds one, grades it, and sells it to a collector who's ready to pay top dollar. Imagine the moment you realize you found one. Your hands shaking slightly as you pick it up, the thrill rising as you notice the shine, the sharpness of Lincoln's features, the tiny mint mark, the slight, strange imperfection that only the rarest coins possess. That mix of fear and excitement, the same feeling people describe when they realize their life might be about to change. Because for some, that moment did change everything. But here's the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. The most extraordinary 1976 D penny ever found, the one that sold for close to $1 million, wasn't discovered by a wealthy collector or a professional numismatist. It was found by an ordinary person, someone who, just like you, was curious enough to check their coins. Someone who didn't know their life was about to shift in a single afternoon. Someone who picked up a penny and unknowingly held a fortune. This leads to the final truth, the one that ties everything together. Wealth doesn't always come from big decisions or bold investments. Sometimes it comes from paying attention to the smallest details, from being willing to look at what everyone else overlooks, from recognizing that opportunity often disguises itself as something ordinary. And that's why this moment right now matters. Before this video ends, take this as more than information. Take it as a sign, a reminder that the path to a wealthier, more secure, more abundant life doesn't always require massive change. It sometimes starts with something as tiny as a penny. So check your coins. Search those jars. Open that old box you've been ignoring. Because the 1976 D Lincoln penny worth up to millions is real. The $976,000 sales are real. And the next life-changing discovery might be sitting quietly in your home, waiting for you to notice it. And now the choice is yours. Will you walk past the next penny you see? Or will you look closer? The answer might be worth more than you ever imagined. Imagine waking up tomorrow, checking that jar of old pennies sitting in the back of your closet, and realizing that a single coin inside, yes, just one, could be worth more than most people earn in an entire decade. Sounds unbelievable? Well, stay with me because today we're talking about the 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin from everyday circulation that now holds a jaw-dropping value reaching as high as $978,000, and in some rare cases, appraisers believe the right combination of errors, toning, and condition could push its value well into the millions. Hard to believe a single cent could change your entire financial future? That's exactly why you must watch until the end. Before we dive into the details, let me ask, how many times have you handled a penny and thought it wasn't worth bending over to pick up? And yet here we are, discussing a coin that could buy a luxury home, pay off every loan you've ever had, and still leave enough to live the kind of wealthy lifestyle most people only imagine while daydreaming on their lunch breaks. It's a reminder that sometimes wealth hides in the quietest corners of ordinary life. The story of the 1978 Lincoln penny doesn't begin with glamour, though. It starts in an era when the penny was simply a workhorse of American currency. Produced by the billions, tossed into pockets, forgotten in drawers, passed from store to store without thought. The no-mint mark version came out of Philadelphia, and because Philadelphia didn't put mint marks on pennies at the time, these coins appeared completely unremarkable. That's the twist. The very thing that makes it ordinary is exactly why collectors hunt for the extraordinarily rare survivors. Those that escaped scratches, bags, circulation, or mint flaws that went unnoticed for decades. But here's where things get interesting. Most people assume value comes only from age, but the real wealth in this coin comes from condition, rarity, and the tiny imperfections that only specialized collectors can recognize. A nearly flawless 1978 no-mint mark penny, preserved in a pristine state, can skyrocket in value. And when a coin like this shows unexpected die errors, doubling on the date, misaligned dies, off-center strikes, or extremely sharp details from a fresh die, it becomes what experts call a dream piece. The type of coin that collectors fight for. The type that auction houses quietly prepare million-dollar lighting setups to showcase. The type that transforms an ordinary American saver into someone with a truly remarkable financial opportunity. Now, here's the moment where the story shifts. Because right now across the country, thousands of people have these coins without knowing their true worth. They sit in old jars, coffee tins, cigar boxes, and family collections inherited from parents or grandparents. The fear that most people feel is the fear of missing out, of unknowingly spending or giving away what could be their once-in-a-lifetime chance at financial transformation. The thought that a penny could slip through your fingers and cost you nearly $1 million? That's the kind of thought that makes people check their pockets twice. But let's flip that fear into excitement. Imagine being the person who finds one. Imagine being the person who realizes that the coin you've ignored for years could fund investments, start a business, buy a new car, or finally allow you to retire early. This is why collectors emphasize careful examination, and it's why coin enthusiasts see the 1978 penny not as pocket change, but as a golden opportunity. You might be wondering, how does such an ordinary coin reach such extraordinary value? The answer lies in something collectors call condition pressure. Out of the hundreds of millions produced, only a microscopic fraction survived in near-perfect condition. Some estimates place the number of true mint-state high-grade specimens in the thousands, maybe even the high hundreds. Add errors or unusual traits, and that number shrinks dramatically. When rarity rises and demand grows, prices climb. And when a wealthy collector decides they want the very best example of a 1978 penny ever discovered, well, let's just say bidding wars escalate quickly. Have you ever seen two millionaires fight over a copper penny? The surprisingly intense. Let's create a little suspense here. Somewhere in the country, at this very moment, someone has this coin. They don't know it. They're not thinking about it. It's resting quietly in a box, waiting for the right eyes to recognize it. Could it be yours? Could it be one you inherited? Could it be the coin you tossed into a piggy bank 20 years ago without a second thought? Think about that for a moment. That's the intrigue that drives collectors and motivates everyday Americans to finally check their old coins. Now the journey deepens. Because if you do find a 1978 no-mint mark penny with strong details, clean fields, sharp rim edges, and no signs of circulation, the path to unlocking its full value becomes a process. You need grading, authentication, documentation, and an understanding of auction timing. Most people don't realize that the difference between selling too early and selling at the right moment can mean the difference between pocketing a few $100s or securing a life-changing six-figure or even seven-figure payout. That's where urgency enters the story. The rare coin market shifts quickly. Wealthy collectors don't wait long. When demand spikes, those who act decisively benefit the most. So what should you look for? Start with the basics: sharp strike, deep color, strong relief. Look for doubling on the date or lettering. Look for minting anomalies. Look for the slightest unusual detail. And remember, even if you're not certain, don't spend it. Don't give it away. The thrill of discovery often begins with noticing just one unusual trait. As we approach the final stretch of this story, the emotional tension reaches a peak. Because here is the truth most people don't hear often enough. Wealth doesn't always come from new opportunities. Sometimes it comes from forgotten ones. Sometimes it comes from something small, simple, and overlooked. A penny is the ultimate symbol of that idea. A reminder that fortune can hide in plain sight. And now for the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. The highest verified auction value currently sits around $978,000, but several high-grade specimens remain ungraded, unidentified, or locked away in private collections. Experts believe that the next major discovery, especially one with striking mint errors or pristine luster, could push the price well past the $1 million mark. The next legendary coin, the one collectors talk about for decades, hasn't been found publicly yet. Imagine being the one to reveal it before this video ends. Let me leave you with this question. If one penny could change your life forever, why not check the ones you already have? Why not search through that jar, that drawer, that old family box? Wealth favors the curious, the bold, and the ones who look twice when others look away. Your opportunity might already be in your hands, and you just don't know it. If you want more guides on rare coins worth massive money, insights into the hidden world of collectibles, and tips on how to turn forgotten items into real wealth, stay tuned. Your next discovery could be the beginning of a brand new life. Imagine discovering that one small coin sitting quietly in a forgotten drawer could be your doorway to a wealthier life. Not a myth, not a rumor, but a real possibility tied to one of America's most overlooked treasures, the 1979 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. Yes, the same ordinary-looking copper coin you've probably handled thousands of times. Today, its rarest varieties are selling for as high as $979,000. Nearly $1 million for a single penny. Hard to believe. Good. Because disbelief is the first sign that opportunity is knocking, and most people will miss it. Welcome to a journey that might change the way you look at every penny you've ever owned. And don't blink, because the most valuable discoveries are usually hiding in plain sight. Before we uncover how this everyday coin became a financial lightning bolt, imagine this. Someone in your neighborhood might already have sorted through their old coins and found one of these treasures. Someone else is cashing checks. Someone else is building the life they once only dreamed about. The question is, will you be the one who looks back wishing you'd paid attention today, or the one living the reward of taking action right on time? The 1979 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny seems simple at first glance. Time-worn Lincoln portrait on the front, the bold monument on the back, a smooth brownish-red finish that reminds you of childhood piggy banks. But beneath that humble surface lies a story of anomalies, misstrikes, rare conditions, and almost mythical survival odds that turned certain copies of this penny into some of the most valuable pieces of modern American coinage. Most 1979 pennies are worth a cent, maybe a few dollars if kept nicely. But a select few, struck under almost perfect conditions with extremely sharp details, flawless surfaces, or unique errors, now sit at the center of fierce bidding wars among collectors. These are the coins that have stunned the market by soaring into six figures, and in the rarest cases, spiraling toward $1 million. It might feel strange hearing that a penny from only a few decades ago could be worth this much. But think of it this way: scarcity drives value. And in a world where billions of pennies circulate, the flawless survivors are more elusive than anyone expected. Many were mishandled. Most were spent. Some were destroyed. Only a microscopic fraction remains in exceptional condition, the kind of condition that turns a collector's heart into a drum. Picture this: you open an old jar from your parents' house. Dusty coins spill out. A few pennies slide across the table. You look down, and one glimmers a little differently. That slight shimmer? That could be the moment that changes your financial future. And yes, this exact scenario has already happened to someone. Several someones, in fact. But before we reveal the exact characteristics that can make a 1979 penny worth as much as a luxury home, there's something deeper beneath this story. It isn't just about the coin. It's about the mindset. Most people walk past opportunity because it doesn't look shiny. It doesn't shout. It whispers. And few take the time to listen. But if you're still here, you're already proving you're not like most people. You're someone searching for that hidden path to wealth, that overlooked angle, that quiet fortune waiting for the right pair of eyes. So let's talk about those eyes. The ones that can recognize value where others don't. Collectors and buyers look for razor-sharp details in Lincoln's hair, smooth, untouched luster on the fields, and flawless edges. Even the faintest scratch can drop a coin's value from thousands to pocket change. But when a 1979 penny escapes those flaws, when it shows up fully intact as if it were stopped in time, that's when the bidding wars begin. Error varieties are an entirely different excitement. Double dies, off-center strikes, dramatic misalignments. These anomalies turn a simple penny into a unique piece of American history. Some of the highest-priced 1979 pennies came from these minting mistakes, each one telling a story of a machine that slipped for a fraction of a second and accidentally created a fortune. Now here's where the tension builds. Many people who owned a fortune-creating penny had no idea. They spent it, dropped it in a parking lot, tossed it into a coin-counting machine, maybe even vacuumed it up in spring cleaning. And every time that happened, the remaining rare ones became even rarer. That's why the value jumped to nearly $1 million, because so few examples remain untouched, uncirculated, and unspoiled. What drives the price even higher is demand. Wealthy collectors aren't just buying a coin, they're buying bragging rights, prestige, and a piece of American minting history. When someone wants to be the only person in the world owning a flawless 1979 no-mint mark penny, they don't hesitate. That's why the bidding gets intense. That's why numbers climb into life-changing territory. And that's why right now you should feel a spark of curiosity, maybe even urgency, pushing you to check your collection, because someone will find the next $1 million penny. Why shouldn't it be you? And here's a thought. How many pennies have passed through your hands in your lifetime? Tens of thousands? Hundreds of thousands? Maybe more? Isn't it wild to think one of those could have been worth a cool $979,000? It's almost enough to make you want to dive into your couch cushions or call every relative who has a jar of old coins hidden somewhere. But stay with this story, because in a moment we're going deeper into the traits that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary, into the signs that tell you whether you're holding a penny or a fortune, into the small details that could make the difference between shrugging and celebrating. The 1979 penny's most valuable form is the one preserved in near-perfect mint state or displaying a dramatic error. Collectors hunt for vivid luster, sharp relief, and untouched surfaces. If yours looks like it just rolled off the press yesterday, you might be in possession of something incredibly rare. And if you spot unusual doubling on the lettering, distorted edges, or any kind of minting mishap, well, that could be the jackpot. But here's where it gets interesting. The people who find the most valuable coins aren't experts. They're ordinary individuals who simply took the time to look. A single moment of attention can rewrite a life story. Imagine paying off your home, retiring early, funding your dream business, sending your kids or grandkids to college, all because of a coin most people overlook. And there's a reason I'm emphasizing this. Opportunities don't wait. Rare coins don't sit around forever. And wealth doesn't reward hesitation. The people who benefit the most are those who take action while the window is still open. The market for rare Lincoln pennies is hot right now. Buyers are competing, prices are rising, and the person who hesitates may end up watching someone else walk away with what could have been theirs. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need special tools. You don't even need luck, just awareness. Open your drawers, search your jars. Check every old coin collection passed down through the family. This isn't about treasure hunting. It's about being awake, being aware, being ready. And yes, maybe even having a little fun along the way. After all, when was the last time a penny made your heart race? Before we wrap up, here's a cliffhanger to carry with you. The next major discovery of a $1 million 1979 penny is predicted to come from a private home. Not a collector, not a dealer, but an ordinary person who simply took a second look at something small. Could be someone watching this very moment. Could be someone just like you. So don't walk away from this video without checking your coins. Don't let the next success story belong to someone else. Wealth favors the observant, the curious, the ones who act before the moment passes. Imagine waking up tomorrow, opening an old jar of pennies you haven't touched in years, and realizing one of them could be worth more than your entire house. Sounds unbelievable, right? But what if I told you that a simple 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has sold for as high as $980,000, and experts believe that the right example could break into the multimillion-dollar range? Suddenly that old change drawer feels a lot more interesting, doesn't it? Today, you're about to discover why this ordinary-looking coin holds extraordinary power, why collectors fight for it, and why keeping your eyes closed to what might be in your possession could be the most expensive mistake of your life. And yes, at one point you might find yourself thinking, seriously, a penny? But by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how 1 cent can transform someone's financial world. It begins with a quiet tension most people never feel. The fear of throwing away something valuable without knowing it. That fear is more common than you think. Every single year, rare 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies surface in the most unexpected places. Yard sales, forgotten coffee cans, old purses, inherited collections, and the people who find them never expected their lives to change. Yet they do. The 1980 no-mint mark penny comes from a time when billions of pennies were being struck, but only a tiny fraction were produced with the conditions, errors, and striking anomalies that make today's million-dollar examples so desirable. Most people glance at them, think they're ordinary copper coins, and toss them aside. But the truth is that a handful of these coins have what collectors dream of: perfect preservation, rare minting anomalies, strong strikes, and surfaces untouched by circulation. The kind of condition that simply shouldn't exist after 40+ years, yet somehow does. And here's the twist that shocks most people the first time they hear it. Unlike coins with mint marks that can be traced, authenticated, and cataloged easily, the 1980 no-mint mark penny hides in plain sight. You could have one right now. Millions of Americans unknowingly do. And that's where the opportunity and the danger begins. Picture this for a moment. A man in Ohio finds a 1980 penny sitting in his late father's toolbox. It looks clean, untouched, almost brand new. He hesitates about getting it certified, thinking, it's probably worth maybe $1. A friend convinces him otherwise. After grading, it's given an astonishing near-perfect rating and is later auctioned for nearly $1 million. Imagine that feeling the moment he saw the final bid. Imagine the regret he would have carried for the rest of his life had he tossed it back into circulation. That story, and countless others like it, are the reason you're watching this video today. But how exactly does a penny reach a value this high? Part of it lies in scarcity at the elite level. While the 1980 pennies are not rare in quantity, they are extremely rare in perfect condition. High-grade examples, especially those with sharp details, strong luster, and unique mechanical doubling or striking errors, have fetched incredible prices on the market. Collectors don't simply want old coins. They want perfection, history, character, all wrapped into a tiny piece of metal that represents America's past. And the 1980 no-mint mark penny has all of that. Now here's where the story becomes exciting. The market for these coins has surged dramatically in the last decade. Wealthy collectors, hedge fund-level investors, and even international buyers have entered the rare coin arena with deep pockets. They aren't just buying coins. They're buying artifacts, legacies, safe haven assets, and they're willing to pay astonishing prices for the right pieces. This influx of competition has pushed the value of certain rare 1980 pennies from a few $1,000s to hundreds of thousands. Today, the most immaculate known examples hover near the $980,000 mark, and analysts privately speculate that the next record breaker could surpass the $1 million threshold. That moment could happen at any time, could even happen with a coin you already own. But don't rush to your coin jar just yet, because understanding what makes a 1980 penny valuable is the difference between cashing in and walking away empty-handed. The grading, the condition, the strike, the color, even the microscopic details hidden in the design all play an enormous role. Many coins look good until they're placed under a microscope, and that's when their dream value quietly disappears. This is why professional authentication matters. It's why certification agencies exist. The wrong judgment, the wrong cleaning method, or the wrong assumption can instantly strip a coin's value. Imagine having a $500,000 penny and accidentally turning it into a 5-cent coin by wiping it with a paper towel. Yes, that happens more often than you think. Painful, right? Even now, you might be wondering, do I have one of these? And that curiosity is exactly what's driving the rare coin market into its next explosive wave. Collectors are becoming more aggressive. Sellers are becoming more educated. Competition is heating up. And every time a new high-grade 1980 penny hits the market, the price floor inches higher for the next one. And that means one thing: the clock is ticking. Still, the most powerful part of this story isn't just the money. It's the possibility. The possibility that something so simple, so small, and so overlooked could become a once-in-a-lifetime financial breakthrough. A breakthrough that doesn't require investing in stocks, running a business, or taking huge risks. A breakthrough that might already be hiding, silently, in the pocket of someone who has no idea what they're holding. But as we move deeper into this journey, there's a final twist you need to hear, and this is where excitement meets urgency. The supply of high-grade 1980 pennies is shrinking. The best ones have already been found, graded, and added to private collections. Serious collectors rarely sell once they secure a top-tier example. And when they do, prices skyrocket because the competition becomes intense. So if you discover a high-quality 1980 penny now, you're entering the market at the perfect time. The window is open, but it won't stay open forever. This is your moment to act. To check your coin jars, your glove compartments, your old drawers, your inherited boxes. Because the only thing worse than missing out on a great opportunity is realizing you had the opportunity in your hands the entire time. Imagine going back years from now and thinking, I should have checked. I should have known. I should have taken it seriously. That's not a feeling anyone wants. Before we wrap up, let's leave you with one more thought, one that keeps collectors awake at night. For every rare 1980 no-mint mark penny already discovered, there are others still out there, untouched, ungraded, waiting for someone to find them. Someone who might just stumble upon a million-dollar moment in the most ordinary place. That someone could be you. And if you're still watching, here's the final cliffhanger that makes this entire coin even more intriguing. Experts believe there is at least one flawless, absolutely perfect, museum-level 1980 penny still unaccounted for. A coin that could redefine the record books. A coin whose value is expected to cross millions once it appears. And with every passing year, the mystery grows. Where is it? Who has it? And will they even recognize it when they see it? The story of the 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just about copper and cents. It's about opportunity, luck, timing, and knowledge. It's about the hidden treasures we overlook every day. And it's about the wealth waiting quietly in the hands of people who are finally ready to pay attention. So start looking. Not someday, not eventually, today. Because the next remarkable discovery, the next record-breaking sale, the next life-changing penny, might be sitting in your home right now, silently waiting for you to pick it up.